Is John here just doing a sound test? Janine, can you hear us? Ms. Beckwin?
I sure can.
Thank you very much.
Okay, it's 9 o'clock. And I will call this meeting to order. Trustee Marie Elliott, can you please do the land acknowledgement?
Thank you, Chair. I acknowledge that we are on Treaty 6 territory and the homeland of the Métis, traditional land of many Indigenous people for countless generations. The Cree, Saulteaux, Blackfoot, Métis, Dene, Nakota Sioux, and Inuit. Land I am now grateful to call home. I believe it is our responsibility to respect, care for, and share the land that supports us, to work with nature to sustain its inhabitants, its people, animals, and plant life, and to preserve its physical beauty.
Thank you. Can I get an approval of the agenda? Trustee Marie Elliott, all in favor? And approval of the minutes? Trustee Marie Elliott, all in favor? There's no business arising from the minutes. We have no presentations. Our action item, Council of School Councils. Superintendent Warren.
Thank you, Chair. Shauna Warren, Superintendent. I will turn it over to Deputy Superintendent John Conrad to bring forward this. We are asking for a board decision for this.
Thank you, John Conrad, Deputy Superintendent, for your consideration, and we would need an order, a motion, I mean, considering the dates for next year's Council of School Councils. We put them roughly at similar times, November and March. We first considered keeping them on the Wednesdays of both of those weeks, but just so the board is aware that Wednesday in November, there is a CAS commitment for senior executive in the evening. And so we will be, the senior executive will be traveling on that Wednesday, which is why the alternate date, I don't have it, is Tuesday for your consideration. Looking forward to discussion and advisement, and then order by motion.
Trustee Briggs. I mean, Buga. My apologies.
AC Buga, Ward 5. In the memo, it says Wednesday, October 23rd. Is that correct? You were just referencing a Tuesday.
Sorry. Yes, we went back to do the Wednesday in October. That is my misspeaking. I was referencing, I had the acknowledgement on my screen and I didn't have the memo in front of me. I apologize. Yes, that is correct.
Buga.
Thank you. I think that I really appreciate having these two Council of School Councils each year. I think they're valuable. Have we put out any requests for feedback from our school councils to see how the 2 meetings a year is going?
Thank you. We have asked feedback through admin council. We did not direct a specific feedback to each school council for feedback. Certainly administration can take that under advisement.
Trustee Marie Elliott.
Trish Marie Elliott, Ward 4. At our last meeting, we changed our board meetings so that October 23rd is now a board meeting. I don't think that will cause undue conflict, but just so everyone is aware that that is happening on the same October 23rd.
I know from my 2 school councils when they reported from the March Council of School Councils, how they appreciated having those meetings. So, and yeah. Trustee Briggs.
So are we moving it to the Tuesday? Because that would be October 22nd.
Mr. Coleman.
No, my deep apologies. I have the memo in front of me here. During consideration, we had it on the Wednesday. One of the things that was under consideration was to keep it on the Wednesday, as the board has indicated it's useful to have commitments on a similar day. And so we were looking at the Wednesday, which would have been the November cow, I believe. But then we, as senior executive, have commitments to travel after that, so we couldn't make. So we were thinking, oh, maybe go Tuesday, and then we realigned to the memo that you have in front of you. And I apologize for the confusion that I kicked off our meeting with here. So we are asking you to consider the Wednesday in October. Yes, that is the same as public. And then a Wednesday and Cal meeting in March, those 2 dates.
Can I get someone to put forward the motion? Trustee Murray Elliott,
Commissioner Murray Elliott, Ward 4. I move that the Board of Trustees approve that the 2024-2025 Council of School Councils meetings take place in person on Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024, and Wednesday, March 5th, 2025.
would you like to speak to the motion?
I think those are wonderful dates.
Any other questions or concerns on the motion? Trying to see Trustee Pequin there. Yeah, oh, she's there. Okay, seeing no hands, I'm going to call the question that the Board of Trustees approve that the 2024-2025 Council of School Councils meetings will take place in person on Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024, and Wednesday, March 5th, 2025. All in favor? Unanimous. Okay, administrative reports, 8.1. Superintendent Warren.
Thank you, Chair. Shauna Warren, Superintendent. I will turn it over to Deputy Superintendent John Conrad to provide the Career and Technology report.
Thank you, Chair. John Conrad, Deputy Superintendent. Provided for your information is insight into how CTS and CTF courses are aligned in Sturgeon Public Schools, and also a brief guide at the end of this information memo on how we are encouraging and considering career exploration and discovery, and then actual engagement in dual credit and other activities that lend toward career pathways as we get into high school. It's for your information, prepared to take questions.
Trustee Viga.
Stacy Bugle, Ward 5. I really appreciate this report because sometimes it is the acronyms and the way that things are introduced is a bit confusing because there's a lot to it. And I just wanted to note that as we were planning our agenda for our next student advisory committee meeting, I assume that your team all communicates. This obviously was created before that. But we are going to be bringing this topic forward to our students next week, I believe, on Tuesday, I think is the meeting. To have some of that discussion, our student co-chair was really excited to talk about how and when and why some of these things are introduced, and at Redwater versus some of the other schools because of that continuity from grade 5 to 12 versus having that jump in grade 9, and when and where things are introduced as far as career pathways. So I'm excited to hear that conversation and how it aligns with what we're doing. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, 8.2, communications report, April and May. Superintendent Warren.
Thank you, Chair. Again, I will turn it over to the Deputy to provide the communications report.
Comment.
Thank you, Chair. John Conrad, Deputy Superintendent. Provided for, I think, celebration and information is this month's communication report. The report highlights activities that have been directly supported by the communications team. Many more activities do occur within our schools, and we celebrate in a variety of ways, but this report captures some of the broader events, usually division-wide, like Sturgeon Night of Music. And the article that we've submitted on behalf for the Rural Caucus and other activities here are celebrating our great staff. Here, you can see here, we're very excited when they get selected and recognized for their excellence, and then opportunities open up, like perhaps trips and experiences that I know our staff will bring back to our schools. The report ends with some of the different highlights across media that we've been mentioned, and a few pointers on events coming up. Prepared to take questions.
I just want to add, because it seems appropriate, marketing and communications. What great work your team did putting together the slide presentation, the movie video for staff appreciation. They knocked it out of the park. So at a time when the staff needed to laugh, I definitely believe they got some laughs there. So please extend my thank you to them. Okay, 8.3 2023-2024 Superintendent Discretionary Fund, Superintendent Warren.
Thank you, Chair. Shauna Warren, Superintendent. Provided for the board's information is the monthly superintendent discretionary fund dollars where it was allocated. So from April 17th to May 15th, what the dollars have been used for. The remaining costs, the remaining funds that are in that specific fund are now spent. And so the 68,000, just over 68,000 that was remaining is being used to top off the therapeutic crisis intervention for schools training for staff. And just to remind the board that the implementation of this program was intentional and was included in our reserve mitigation strategy. It has, we've had great buy-in from staff. And because we did have those operational reserves that we pushed up, and it was a lot of heavy lifting to the team. It's great work, but it's been a lot of training over the year to get as many staff trained as possible during the course of the year. So the dollars are now spent. And so this would be the last report for this school year. And I feel that the fund has been used effectively to support the great things that are happening in our school and any changes that happen after the budget is passed.
Steve Buga.
Stacy Buga, Ward 5. Just out of curiosity, for the therapeutic crisis intervention training for our staff, is that mostly complete at this point, or is this going to be ongoing into future years for new staff, or where are we at kind of with that programming? Thanks.
Trustee Buga, great question. Shauna Warren, Superintendent. So TCIS, the reason the beginning part was so expensive is because we were paying for the dollars to get our own people trained so they could train our staff. So now we wanted to have enough people trained across all schools so that when we move forward for professional development, that we actually can be completing that professional learning for our staff internally. And so it is not going anywhere. It's just shifting. And so now we have a core group of people that are actually trained as trainers so they can train our staff. And so our goal is now that we continue to do the great work, but that we actually can do it in-house and the costs will go down because now it is our own people providing professional learning to our staff. And this will continue. We do have quite a large bulk of people that were trained this year, but now we will set a framework moving forward for each year for what the internal professional learning looks like. For all staff moving forward.
Thank you. 8.4 Superintendent's Report. Superintendent Warren.
Thank you, Chair. Again, provided as information for the board is my monthly superintendent report based on the SLQS.
Thank you. 8.5 Administrative Procedure 235 Operational School Year End Calendar. Superintendent Warren.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to turn this over to Lisa Lacroix to discuss.
Lisa Lacroix, Associate Superintendent of Human Resources. We have just recommended sorry, is this an AP or? Oh, sorry. So we would like to bring forward just the change that we are changing from April to November for the operational calendar to be created and sent out then for feedback. That is the process that we were following. We just had it backwards in the AP. So we've changed the final to April, one full school year. So it's still coming a complete school year in advance. And that was the actual process that we followed. But when I rewrote the AP, we had the dates mixed up. So the operational one should come first and then the final after. So that is the only change in the AP.
Thank you. 8.6 Administrative Procedure 255 in climate, weather, and outdoor air quality. Superintendent Warren.
Thanks, Chair. I will turn it over to Mr. Conrad to discuss the minor changes that we updated our AP with.
Thank you, Chair. John Conrad, Deputy Superintendent. For your information is how the administration team has reviewed and has edited the admin procedure. Most of the changes, if you scroll down to 0.5, focus on days when a local school busing isn't running for that school or maybe a few schools as opposed to a division cancellation event. So there's some clearer guidelines on what will or will not happen for students. And then the addition of Air Quality Health Index in consideration, as that has something that we are already doing, and now it is here in procedure so it can be consistent across our schools. Prepared for any questions.
Trustee Pequin.
I really appreciate the local context being added into this AP because we all know the weather in Redwater and River Kabar can be two completely different things. So I appreciate the local context that it's not divisionally, but if you're a school, because I've had a lot of questions about that. So much appreciated.
Trustee Buga.
Stacy Bugle, Ward 5. The air quality, I know last year with track and field and different outdoor events and the smoke and air quality and stuff, there was a lot of questions from parents. Can this be added to perhaps trustee talks or to our speaking? I know it's an AP and not so much governance, but I think that that's good information to make sure that our parents have ahead of time, just to say that, yeah, no, we're on it. If air quality is bad, we take that into consideration as a division, just so that there's not so many questions. Thanks.
Superintendent Warren.
Thank you, Trustee Buga. I actually already have it ready to go on the trustee when it goes out. And yes, we do share our APs, especially and I'll just remind the board that just in the last presentation, when a policy might be silent, remember the APs must speak. And so thank you for that input, and we will make sure that it's added and in both the trustee talk and for speaking points, and make sure parents are aware, because that is why we did update the AP, is just because air quality, it's a big deal. And when we have fires and stuff, we have to make sure that we're especially in this time of the year when we do our track and field and kids are outside a lot exerting themselves. And so we wanted to make sure that this was captured. And so thank you. We will make sure it is included.
Thank you. 8.7 AP 871 use of personal mobile device for division business. Superintendent Warren.
Thank you, Chair. Shauna Warren, Superintendent. I will turn this over to Mr. Conrad again. And so just as the board reviews policies, we have a schedule for our APs. And so this AP has been updated just to reflect where we're at with division use of personal mobile devices. But I will turn it over to Mr. Conrad.
Thank you, Chair. John Conrad, Deputy Superintendent. For your information is how we've updated AP. It is on the tracker to be updated at this cycle. You'll notice that the additions focus on recognizing how much use a personal phone may be for a division business, and then aligning the stipend that would go for that. So it's really aligned with fiscal responsibility. Prepared to take questions?
Trustee Buga?
Who all is determined to be needing school provided cell phones, just out of curiosity?
It does need to be a senior management position or a senior leadership, but it is at the consideration of the supervisor. So there are a few positions that aren't at the senior leadership position, like some of our operation and maintenance that are working in remote locations, and we need to have direct and immediate communication with them. So I guess in general, it is more the senior leadership that needs to be in contact through a device like this. But then there are definite positions that need that immediacy in communication. And that's determined by the supervisor and manager of that budget area.
Trustee Murray Elliott?
Trish Marie Elliott, Ward 4. Sorry, I'm just curious about this, and this comes into the privacy that we were talking about before the meeting and such, but how do you determine how much use of a phone is business or personal without invading someone's privacy?
Sorry, if I may, the determination is less how much they're using for a person and more the supervisor, how many opportunities do I need to communicate directly through this medium with them? And if that's, a couple of times a week, it's really just 25% or that lower entrance. If it's actually pretty much, daily and go and so on. So it's less how much personal use, because that is something that I'm not considering, but it is how much professional use. And that's the percentage that we work on.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on. 9.1, Chair's Report. May is busy. It should be attached. My usual school council meetings. I did have a virtual meeting with the Chief of Staff, James Johnson, on May 3rd. It was a virtual meeting with Superintendent Warren. And he was just connecting with all board chairs and superintendents just to get a reality snapshot. So we had a 30-minute conversation with him about our complex classrooms and the reality in Sturgeon Public Schools. And it is also in the superintendent's report, so it's pretty much the same. The MLA Zone 2-3 MLA engagement night, I found that enlightening. May 11th, I went to MFRC Gala to show that I was invited, and so I went to show the support to them from our division, because they help our families and our students, not just on the base, but also throughout our communities, because we do have military families within our communities. It was a great night, and they made lots of money on their silent auction that I just window shopped at. Went to the Sturgeon Strides and got wet for an hour. And I said to them and any of the teachers that I'd seen out there how proud I was of them, because anybody could ride a bike in a gym, but tough people can walk a track in the rain. Some of them said they'd rather ride a bike in a gym. But they, I kept thinking when I left in the morning, maybe it'll lighten up. But 11, when I got there, it just kept pouring. So pretty proud of those people. We had a meeting with Minister Nicolaides on the 16th, to which I'll bring more information to you in camera. Friday, I'm attending the Zone 2-3 meeting and the Edwin Parr banquet. Yeah. So that's me. Then you'll notice on the agenda is me again, and it's 9.1.1, the role of trustee. And this is, I've been doing some extra PD with our consultant, and he's been helping me and with the role of the chair. And so I just wanted to share that with you all, and to let you know that he said to me, because I said, well, how do you, like, it's more than just chairing a meeting. And he said, his direction to me was, you have to lean on your policies, because your policies are who you are and what drive you. So he said, he said for me to ask, you can answer, you don't have to answer. He said, are we as a board going to follow our policies? And if we're not, then who are we? What are we going to do? Because that's the direction that I need to take. And he said, you know, normally when you have your org meeting, you had that discussion. And so, you know, we've put the cart before the horse in a lot of things. So even though it's May and my year is almost up, I still feel that it's important that I pose that to you. So that yeah, that was me. Let's start with trustee reports. Where I'm trying to think. Let's start with trustee Pequin on the screen here.
Okay, I have submitted my report. It should be in your package. I just updated it, so I'll email Crystal because I forgot about the MLA engagement. Just a regular month of things. We're ramping up for grad season and book awards and year-end concerts and all of the fun stuff in June, so that's exciting, but that's a month to come. And just Redwater School is putting on a musical theater again on May 29th. I think it's 6 p.m. So I'm looking forward to attending that.
Thank you. Trustee Dwyer.
Couple things, attended play of Melon like photos. Made. Again. Joe Dwyer, Ward 3. So I attended the play that Camilla put on Footloose, and it was just amazing, actually. But I know next year, it's a lot of work to it. It's a 9-month period, and it takes a lot out of the normal day. So they're debating about having it again, and that's caused a little bit of an uproar in the community because a lot of people like it so much, but they're not seeing the reality of what it takes. So there's going to be some kind of change to it in the future, but that's that whole drama aspect is going to continue in some way or fashion. But went to the chair and council meeting. We did some QP work, all the regular meetings that we have, and I went to the field, track and field day, and there's a lot going on at Camilla, like everybody else. We'll be attending most of that, but I sent out, I went to put something in my calendar. We're having a, we're having an appreciation breakfast for teachers, and they included the bus drivers, and I just put bus driver in my calendar and bus appreciation and that, and it connected to something and sent an email to everybody. So I got that deleted right away. So someone woke me up. But everything pretty well normal with that, and that's about it.
Trustee Briggs.
Cindy Briggs, Ward 2. My report has been submitted in the package. It's been a busy month, and it's going to be another busy month coming up for all of our schools. My highlight of the month was seeing our principal at Vaughan Community School standing on Main Street, Legal, with a sandwich board, trying to get people to come to the Legal block parties. So that was my highlight. So And I really enjoyed staff recognition and seeing our longtime staff members in our division. And congratulations to all our retirees.
Trustee Buga.
Stacy Bugle, Ward 5. Yeah, busy month. All of the things, had school council at MPS at Four Winds, as well as at the learning centers. Did the inaugural walk with Trustee Marie Elliott at Sturgeon Strides, which was cold and wet. Lots of fun. I'm really excited to be one of the judges at the STEAM Games tomorrow. That's, I think, from my little contestant at home, he is over the moon. He's so excited about what this means, and him and his friends have been, they've got the 3 of them that are on their team that have been practicing all long weekend. This is grade 5, and they feel like this is like the big times. So tomorrow's going to be a really exciting day at the comp. So thanks to everybody who had a hand in that. I'm sure this is a huge undertaking across the division to make it happen. Our Inspire group at Four Winds, that is in collaboration with Jessica Martell Foundation, has their Inspire Gala tomorrow night as well. So this is kind of their graduation as they move through the program. So it's a really important night for these girls to be recognized. So I'm happy to attend that. Student advisory is coming up next week. I know it's hard to report on things that haven't happened yet, but after the agenda meeting that I had with our co-chair and director of learning services, Shannon Rekwa, education planning, pardon me. I'm really excited for what this meeting will bring. There's a really good insight brought to us by Izzy Pollock out of Redwater School. And then Mean Girls is the Four Winds presentation or performance happening next week on Wednesday and Thursday, if anybody wants to go see. And then PSBA starts next Thursday.
Thank you. Trustee Otway McClay.
Tasha Otway McClay, Ward 6. Apologies, not in the package yet. Will be shortly. My month was pretty quiet, actually. I really did enjoy the musical entertainment provided by Extended Disability Benefit at the staff appreciation. Really enjoyed that a lot. Unfortunately, Guthrie School Council could not make quorum, so it was a pretty low-key meeting. But they're doing okay from the sounds of it. I don't have Nemeo's until next Monday, next Monday. And the only other thing I would say is that tomorrow is the Nemeo Ag Society's casino day. So if anybody has the penchant to come out to the casino, come say hi to me at in St. Albert. Thank you.
Thanks. Trustee Marie Elliott.
Trish Marie Elliott, Ward 4. I have also submitted my report. I'll just mention a couple of things. I attended the Senator Paula Simon's presentation to the grade 12 social studies students, and she is a wonderful speaker. She gave her origin story of becoming a senator, and she's so intelligent and amusing, and the kids were really engaged, and they had some great questions for her, and I'm really glad I went. If anyone has the opportunity to listen to her, she's fantastic. QP negotiations are ongoing. Sturgeon Strides. Yes, it was raining, but the students are so positive. It's just a pleasure to take that lap around with them and show support, because we have great kids in our schools. I attended one school council, Sturgeon Heights. The Sturgeon Comp is next week. And a couple of things came out of that. So I'll bring them up, and I'm wondering who I can pass them on to look at for me. The first one, it came up a question about ASCA membership. And I know our policy says that we pay the schools, each school's membership. but they're pretty convinced that they have paid for it themselves. So I hope we're not double paying for one of our schools. I'm not sure how that works. Do they pay for it and we reimburse them, or do we pay as a board for all our schools? So could I ask someone to look into that and make sure we're not double billed?
Yeah,
By that.
we'll have administration bring that answer back to you.
The second thing was just some feedback from the Sturgeon Night of Music. Everyone loved the event, but I got some pretty strong feelings that there was quite a bit of confusion amongst the parents. One thing was going up at, some had to be there early, and they were a bit unsure about handing their kids through the door to strangers while they were asked to stay outside. So that was a concern to some people. Others had said there were different times that people were told to be there, so there was a lot of confusion about that. I think different schools were told different times, and the volunteers that were helping out with the choirs, and they were up with the choirs, they felt very confused because they did not have clear direction of what their role was. So it's a great event. Everyone thinks we're very fortunate to have our students in that wonderful venue. I think that's more of a, maybe the schools themselves can make sure that all their parents are well informed of what their expectations are, and then that would go a bit smoother. And the final thing is I had a call from one of our school council members, and what they have decided is they're looking into raising funds for a new playground. So they're at the very beginning level of that, but they have a million questions. Again, the logistics of permits. There's still the question of, does Sturgeon County own that land? I thought they understood the difference, but it keeps popping up. So they would have to go through City of St. Albert for permits, I'm sure, but they're wondering what concerns they should look at, what the procedures might be. I know we had discussed in the past that O&M would at least have to look at any new plans, because if it was some really high maintenance playground that they couldn't afford to sustain or support on an annual basis, they would have to be involved in that. So when would they put their input in? There was a mention of if there should be community input and engagement, and I'm thinking that that would be a really good idea, because it is a school playground, but it's also a community playground, and you never know, we might find some sponsors who are interested to help out with that, which brought another question of sponsorship. How can we acknowledge any potential sponsors? Can we put plaques on slides or swings, that sort of thing? So I think Gibbons, was it Gibbons or Lanny Trail, actually had a binder on playground
Yeah,
that they went through. So
kind of misplaced the binder,
okay.
but if we find it,
Probably lent it to someone and never got back. So I don't know who they should go to for guidance on this. Anyone?
Superintendent Wong?
Well, any questions that come up, and I think for the principal running school council meetings, because the principal, when it's questions that they're not, when concerns are brought forward, then the principal reaches out to us. So those questions, I will touch base with the principal to ask him just if he needed any help with anything, because he should be coming back to the next meeting to close with the school council questions. As for ASCA, we did pay $1,400 for the ASCA membership. So, but again, I will reach out to principal just to ask what support that he needs to close that communication.
Okay, thanks. And I guess that's it. A lot of the stuff on my report, hasn't even happened yet. So I'm looking forward to STEAM Games tomorrow, the Edwin Parr ceremony on Friday, another school council, the Student Advisory Committee, and SBAA.
Thank you. Another area to your parent council, your school council chair because I believe they have an email, they can send an email out to other school councils for help, advice, those types of things, because they're more than willing to share. And if we can find that binder, because we've been looking for that binder, I'll bring it forward.
And this was actually the fundraising girl, but she just was, she's reaching out to everybody for information. So I just thought anything we could provide would be helpful as well.
Okay. Thank you. Committee of the Whole report. So in here are approved minutes from April 24th, and then our draft minutes from May 9th. And we will approve those draft minutes at our next Committee of the Whole. 9.4, Rotary report. Trustee Dwyer.
Yeah, we just, this month, we officially welcomed our Interact group at the Sturgeon Comp High. Had a pizza lunch for them and their official Interact group with Rotary, which is cool. We were talking today about connecting them with the University Interact, just to have that connection and maybe some learning opportunities there, their futures. And we're also looking at sponsoring a few other things with them in the future here. So really good start, some really good leaders again. Yeah, it's quite impressive, the leadership that comes out of some of these students. Rotary also sponsored the lunch at the Sturgeon Strides. We've done that for the last few years. So that's another thing. And that's about it. The rest is fairly normal Rotary type activity.
Well, I know I heard wonderful feedback about the hot dogs that were at Strides. So thank you to Rotary for supporting that again this year.
Used to be a breakfast, but we wanted lunch this year. So
Yeah. Trustee Murray Elliott.
I believe the football team was supporting the pancake breakfast as a fundraiser this year.
oh, okay. And then just the other thing is Rotary gave Camilla $1,000 for that play. So they're a little bit in financial need there.
10.1 Alberta School Boards Association representatives. Would you like to go first, Trustee Pequin?
Well, there's not much because our meeting is this Friday, so I have nothing. This spring general meeting is coming up next weekend. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, yeah, I don't have anything else to add to that. Yeah, they're busy gearing up for the spring meeting. 10.2 Public School Board Association of Alberta. Trustee Murray Elliott.
Trish Murray Elliott, Ward 4. My report has been submitted. Did you all get a copy of that? So I'll just quickly go over though. The PSBAA gift basket. Thanks to everyone for supporting that. The theme is summer fun outdoor activities, and the gift basket includes a premium pickleball set, a smash ball set, a ring toss set, all packaged in an insulated cooler on wheels, complete with 2 bottles of smart water for hydration. And thanks to Tasha for doing most of the shopping on that one. I'm not sure if we're all aware, but the 2024 ASCA conference, PSBAA was awarded the Friend of ASCA Award, which recognized PSBAA's strong support for ASCA and the organization's commitment to nurturing supportive school environments and family engagement in education and empowering students to achieve their full potential. So I'm glad that PSBAA supports ASCA, and I'm glad that ASCA recognizes that, and I thought that was a good thing. The Spring General Assembly is coming up May 30th to June 1st in Calgary, and Stacy and I will be attending that. The summer PSBC meeting is in Grand Prairie, August 7th to 9th. If anyone needs any details, let me know. And just a reminder that PSBAA is requesting student land acknowledgements for use in future meetings. So if anyone wants to submit those, I would be happy to pass them on. Stacy, do you have anything to add, or does anyone have any questions?
I don't know, trustee Beaver, are you looking for something? Or are you good? Okay. Okay, trustee Dwyer?
Just sorry, guys, I forgot something there on the Rotary, and just for information, but if you were looking on the news there where that plane going to Singapore, we actually had our director and his wife on that plane, so they both got injured pretty bad. One broke a neck and the other one leg and back or something like that. And it was just for information. They were heading to the national or the World Conference of Rotary. Yeah. Sorry, I should. Yeah, since we're members, we should know that, I guess.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing that. Watch for the next PSBAA advocate, because you will see an article featuring Sturgeon Public Schools. Thank you to administration and all the other people involved in putting that together. Yeah, it apparently was our month, so can I ask you to speak to our submission?
Absolutely. So as shared with the board earlier, this Alberta Education had reached out to 4 school boards in the province that were successful in attaining the mental health in schools grant. And so they reached out to us, asked if we would share some of our positive stories. So I have shared the video with you. The article that's submitted is a summary of the program and some photos. Sadly, the link is still not public, so I know that the board has seen it, you've seen the video. But Alberta Education, the plan was that it would be on Alberta Education website during Mental Health Week. So that was the first week of May. It's still not live. So we were waiting till the last minute to hope that it was live this morning, because the report is due to PSBA this morning. So we were kind of holding on and waiting, but sadly it's not. It's still not live, but you will see the article that is summary of the grant, what we've been doing, and some photos.
Thank you. Okay, we will, no unfinished business, comments and question period. No questions from our people online in the gallery. Okay, I will ask to get a motion to move us into camera. Trustee Otway-McClay, all in favor? Carried unanimously. So we will now leave this and